What's going on, everybody? I am your host, Dottie. This is the Progressive Vibe. Welcome, everybody. It's May 9th, 2026. We are in a state of emergency when it comes to voter suppression in this country. It's honestly sad and quite pathetic that this is still taking place in 2026. There's really no rest for the weary, honestly. So let's just get into it. I wanted to share an article with you guys from Ground News. Let me pull it up here. Give me just a second. Excuse me. There we go. So right here it says Louisiana to suspend congressional primaries after Supreme Court redistricting ruling. So if you guys don't know, this was published 7 days ago. So about a week ago, the Supreme Court made a decision that significantly weakened a majority or a major important provision in the Federal Voting Rights Act. Um, and honestly, the decision, the fear was that it can snowball, that other states, predominantly southern states, would take this and run with it by redrawing their maps. If you guys didn't know, Tennessee legislature made that decision the other day, and it was quite frankly just a disgrace. But before we get into that, I just wanted to read this rundown right here on Ground News. So it says on Thursday, Governor Jeff Landry suspended Louisiana's May 16th U.S. House primaries via executive order 1 day after the Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling invalidated the state's congressional map as unconstitutional racial gerrymandering. Okay, the court's Wednesday decision automatically terminated a prior stay legally barring Louisiana from conducting congressional elections under the current map, which officials said improperly used race to create a second majority black district. Um, while House contests are suspended, other elections, including the Senate primary, proceed as scheduled, creating confusion as overseas ballots were already distributed. Excuse me, and early voting was set to begin Saturday. Uh, House Speaker Mike Johnson supports the delay, while Democrats like Senator Royce, I think his last name is pronounced uh, Duplessis, denounced the move as naked partisanship, warning it could change the rules of the game in the middle of the game. With the legislative session ending June 1st, state leaders are working with the legislature to redraw maps as President Donald Trump praised Landry's swift actions and urged Tennessee to pursue similar redistricting strategies. So, all that being said, last summer, I don't know if you guys remember or not, last summer, 2025, Trump urged Texas Republicans to redraw U.S. House districts to give the Republican Party, an advantage. I'm not making this up or anything like that. He literally is on tape saying this. Like, it's not a hoax. It's not because I don't like Donald Trump or that I'm not a Republican or whatever like that. I'm so sick of people not just looking at what's in front of them. Everything does not have to always be it doesn't have to always be bipartisan, but it doesn't have to always be one-sided. It always is not made up just because somebody that's not in the same party as you um is lying. It's so simple minded. And I hate to be like that, but it is. I mean, we have to understand that regardless if you are living in a blue state or a red state, you I feel like any decent person would want the maps drawn evenly. Why can't we have an independent commission for every state to come in and redraw the maps equally so you can have equal representation? And this, it doesn't matter if, again, I said last episode, I live in Alabama. I live in probably the most rated state in the country. Um, and Republicans rule the majority in the state. There's no shock about that or anything like that. But at the same time, too, um, there is a such thing as gerrymandering. When you draw the maps unaccordingly, and it gives the other party an advantage in election time to what? Retain power. It's all about retaining power. And it's not fair to the people of my state that does not agree with everything that the Republicans do. I'm sure it's people that doesn't agree with everything the Democrats do. But what is fair for a Republican and Democrat if we have fair representation across the board, no matter what state you live in? And the snowball effect came when, um, again, last summer, 2025, Trump urged uh, the governor of Texas, I think his name's Greg Abbott, uh, uh, to redraw the maps to give them an advantage going into the midterms come this November. And so Democrats followed, Democrats in California, they responded by doing the same thing. Then other states joined the battle. And thus, again, fast forwarding to this Supreme Court decision, it really gave red states the green light. So you have a snowball effect, which lawmakers, commissions, or courts have adopted the new House districts ruling that the Supreme Court made. And I have some notes right here that I just wanted to share with you guys really quick because I think it's really, really important. Um, Again, a Supreme Court decision striking down Black congressional district in Louisiana has amplified a national redistricting battle by providing Republican officials in several states new grounds to redraw voting districts. In my state, in Alabama, Republican Governor Kay Ivey announced that she is calling a special legislative, session. I want to say it was last Monday, in hopes that the Supreme Court would allow the state to change its U.S. House map ahead of the November midterm elections. Now, the state of Alabama already tried to propose this to the courts, and it got struck down. So now that the Supreme Court has made this unfortunate ruling, it honestly gives Alabama the green light to say, okay, well, you might have struck me down the last time, but you just made this ruling. Um, and it seems like Louisiana's doing this. It seems like Tennessee's doing this. So I know you struck us down before, but are you going to strike us down again since you just made this ruling? So I'm kind of curious to see um, what decisions are going to be made for Alabama, my state, considering that motion already was struck down as a no, but it seems like it's a yes for other southern states. So I'm very, very confused by that. And again, just disheartened and disappointed in people's voting rights or just constitutional rights. And as we were speaking about Tennessee, well, um, let me do Florida. So also last week, Florida lawmakers became the latest to redraw the U.S. House districts, adopting a new map backed by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis that could give the GOP a chance at additional seats come midterms. In Tennessee, as we were talking about, Um, Republican Governor Bill Lee announced a special session for the GOP controlled legislature to break up the state's on Democratic held House districts centered on the majority Black city of Memphis. And so the new update on Tennessee is they were able to do this. The Tennessee legislature was able to restrict or taper off, if whatever you want to call it, the accessibility to African Americans in the state of Tennessee, um, a state that has a large number of African American residents. So does Alabama. So does Louisiana. So does Virginia. I mean, I think you're seeing the trend. And again, I'm not just saying that shame on southern states. I'm saying shame on any state that decides to gerrymander in the benefit of the party that's in control of that state. But let's not get it twisted. President Trump urged Republicans to do this first. And so, what do you expect the Democrats to do? Just sit back and say, okay, well, that's not right. Our Republican colleagues are going to see the light, and they're going to, the honest Republicans are going to stop this and say that it's unjust and it's not constitutional and yada 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 yada. No, they're not going to do that because they are beholden, mesmerized by their president. They don't know how to say no. And so I think the Democrats did the only thing that they really was able left to do, which was to redraw the maps in their Democratic held control states. But again, it would not have happened if we would have appropriated, which we all, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember the exact name of the proposal, but the Democrats actually proposed a bill that would do independent commission in every state to equally redraw the maps. And it got shut down by the Republicans. Like they didn't want to do it. This is not like, well, uh the Democrats good and the Republicans bad. I mean, if the Democrats would have been doing this first, I would have called the fucking Democrats out, and I would have said, well, that's not fair to the Republicans because it's obviously you're trying to consolidate power. There needs to be equal representation. Everybody does not fall under the same umbrella as it relates to party affiliation. And so why rig the game? Why do it in mid voting season, right in the middle of voting season? Why did the Supreme Court do this? To give Trump and the Republicans to try to give them an upper hand going into the midterms, because Trump is doing awful as it relates to the economy, as it relates to the war, as it relates to prices, gas prices, grocery prices, etc. And I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but his approval numbers are abysmal. His approval rating is in the low 30s. And it's a very, very big chance that the Republicans are going to at least lose the House of Representatives come November, if not the Senate, if we have fair voting in this country. But with this decision from the Supreme Court, this just makes it harder to vote. This just makes it harder for proper representation of states. And it's not right. It's not fair. We want to urge people to get out and vote, to be involved in the democratic process. But where's the democratic process if there's no democracy? If the democracy is getting slashed, if people's rights in this country are getting slashed, it's going to make it harder to vote, meaning that people are going to furtherly be shitted on. Just keeping it real. Because what's going on right now is not right. It's not just It shouldn't be legal, and it's very, very infuriating. Last couple of things I'm gonna say. So Tennessee, with their ruling, there is no longer a African American majority in a majority district in that state. None. They voted to withdraw all of those lines. Um, Also, there is no longer a Democratic majority in the state. Um, and after the decision in the Tennessee in the Tennessee legislature building, um, you had people obviously coming there to show their frustration, peacefully protesting on the disgrace that these Tennessee lawmakers voted in spite of. Um, and you if you haven't seen the video, you see lawmakers. The video I seen, it looks like they seem to be smiling and laughing as they were walking from the voting floor, walking down the stairs from the voting floor. They ran to the protesters outside of the voting area as they were coming out, walking down the stairs, I guess, leaving the building or whatever. You've seen a lot of them smiling, laughing. They thought it was comical. And obviously the protesters were outraged at the decision, showing their frustration. And I know you at least seen, I seen it also too on the video. It was at least one uh lawmaker that came out the building was chanting Trump, Trump, Trump at the protesters. And he was literally wrapped in a Trump flag. I mean, and again, Kay, whatever you vote, you're a MAGA guy, and you vote Republican, and you're a Republican lawmaker. Okay, but I just think it's just so egotistical. Like, dude, you already made your vote how you wanted to vote. Why do you have to like come out and pour gasoline on the fire and like gaslight everybody by coming out? You're a freaking lawmaker, and you're out here yelling Trump, Trump, Trump at the young kids out here, the older people out here that wants a fair representation of the state. And it was walks of all life that was in that chamber, protest wise. It was white people, black people, Latino people, woman, man, whatever. Because again, as I said in the last episode, what's right is what's right, and what's wrong is what's wrong. And what the Supreme Court's decision was wrong. What these southern states are doing now by changing the congressional maps in the middle of voting is wrong. It's nothing right about that. And I really do believe that we've gone back to the pre-civil rights era of this country. And I never thought I was going to actually see it with my eyes. Thought I was just going to only read about it because it was history. But you know what they say, history does tend to repeat itself. In this case, it's repeating itself in the worst possible way. And we have to do better as a country. We have to vote come November. We have to be informed. We have to stay engaged. We have to be calculated. We have to be diligent. And we have to treat this with the urgency that it requires. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Please hit a thumbs up. All my links are in the social. Thank you guys for showing love. The first episode, I'm not even going to lie, it's not that much compared to other YouTubers and things like that. But I'm just so grateful of seeing like how many people have already viewed it. And I hope you appreciate the content. Again, if you like what we're doing here at the Progressive Vibe Podcast, please hit that subscribe button, there's a donation button in my link tree in the description. If you want to show some love that way, that would be great. Also, we trying to stay as the great Don Lemon said, we're trying to stay viable on these streaming streets. So contributions will be so appreciated if you can, but no force, no pressure. I would love though if you subscribe and like the channel. Again, I'm your host, Dottie. Let's stay progressive. Let's keep fighting a good fight. And I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Love you. Peace.